a hugger.
Oh.
I'm trying to... I need the clicker.
What's that?
I need the clicker.
The clicker.
Thank you. Oh my God, I am so motivated, so excited to be here. I also realize that I am the after lunch speaker, so I better have a lot of energy. Now, if you look in your little books like I did this morning, it says that I am about to do a presentation about real estate. I know nothing about real estate. So I am not going to talk about real estate. I am going to talk about what it takes to thrive in today's marketplace. You're going to walk out of here with 3 sales strategies, 3 things that you need to really take your sales presentations up a notch. How does that sound? All right. Now, Cody and Bart both told me that if I was going to speak with you, I had better be prepared. So I have done my research, I have done my homework. I know a lot about you. I know that it is difficult to be an entrepreneur these days. Competition is coming out of the woodwork. Technology is changing the game. And every time we turn around, our customers want more for less. So I am not going to spend the next 45 minutes or so up here talking about all the things you already know and understand about sales today. We're going to spend the next 45 minutes talking about what you need to do to take it up a notch. Because I think the one thing that we can all agree on, it's probably the one thing that we're all worried about, is that what has made us successful to this point, what's gotten us in this room, it is not going to be enough to make us successful going forward. We are living in a marketplace that is constantly shifting, rapidly moving. And in a world that is changing this fast, wouldn't it make sense, wouldn't it seem logical that we spend a little bit of time in here today, devote some energy at this conference to talking about what we need to be doing going forward to really leave our competition in the dust. That's what we're going to focus on. Sound good? All right. Now, I learned these strategies when I started writing the book that Bart was talking about. I started studying sales organizations and sales professionals that seem to have cracked the code. Since 2008, do we all remember 2008? Should we have a moment of silence for 2008? But since 2008, they have been seeing record growth, 30 and 40% year after year. And I wanted to know why. What were they doing that was so unique? And what were they doing that was so different? And what I discovered was they weren't any smarter, they weren't any more talented, they didn't have some kind of magic product, they didn't have a product near as good as SendOutCards. All they had done was slow down long enough to truly analyze the marketplace, all the shifts and changes in it, and redefine the sales cycle to put their time and their energy into those 3 strategies that really make all the difference. And those are the strategies that we're going to focus on today. Those are the strategies that you're going to walk out of here that I promise you, if you put them into place, you're not only going to take your sales up a notch, you're going to leave your competition in the dust. Now, before we jump into those strategies, there's one thing I need to address. That is the elephant in the room. It is the one thing on all of your minds and probably on the minds of all of your customers. And that is the economy. Just what is this economy going to do? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it up? Is it down? Now, I do a radio show on Mondays, and I have been interviewing economists trying to get a handle on what this economy is going to do. And a couple of months ago, I interviewed an economist who told me I had nothing to worry about. we were looking at another 2 years of this economy going straight up. Then just last Monday, I interviewed another economist who told me, you already know, don't you, that I better put on my seatbelt because the bottom was going to drop out sometime after the first of the year. Now, here is what I have figured out from that. This is what I've learned. Nobody has any flipping idea what this economy is going to do, right? And I am not sure as entrepreneurs that's where we need to be focusing our time and our energy. We don't need to be worried about whether this economy is good or bad. What we need to be thinking about is just how different this economy is. Think about the world we live in today. Globalization, constant advancements in technology, increasing competition. We could all get up right now. We could go home. We could get in our jammies. We could get in our underwear. We could sit around in our skivvies. That's naked in North Carolina terms. Google until our heart is content and have everything we want, everything we need, everything our little heart desires could be delivered right to our door. I am guessing you do that right now. Come on, show of hands. You are the king or queen of Amazon Prime. Yeah? The most intimate relationship I have in my life, the one I value more than any other, is with a man who wears little brown shorts. He drives a big brown truck. He brings me presents on a weekly basis. Now, I am having fun with you, but I want you to realize that right there changes everything. That makes this an economy like none of us have ever lived in, worked in, or tried to grow a business in before. This is a very different economy, which calls for a very different set of strategies. It is not as much about what you sell as it is about how you sell it. Products are not hard for customers to find, and experience is. As Mark Hunter said this morning, finding somebody they trust. So it isn't about what you do, it is about how you do it. I love that this is called the Relationship Marketing Summit, because the most important thing you need to know how to do in today's marketplace is to build relationships. That's where your competitive advantage is. But this is not relationships like we have known in the past. This is relationships on steroids. You've got to be able to create an experience that is so amazing for your prospects that they don't believe they can find it anywhere else. And for your existing customers, those people who already trust you, you have to proactively add value at a level that makes them believe they can't live without you. And when you walk out of here today, when I leave this stage, you're going to have the strategies that are going to do just that. Now, I want you to come on a little trip with me. We're going to go back in time to a television show called Mad Men. You remember this show? Now, for those of you who have never seen it, it was a show about the rise of the advertising age in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. And this is what I like to call the good old days. This is when customers needed us way more than we needed them. Competition was the guy down the street. And ordering online, that meant the Sears catalog. Remember that? You'd order in the Sears catalog and wait 3 months for it to show up. And the only way to get business in those days was to advertise. And you could at that point say anything you wanted to about your product or service, if you remember how crazy ads were back then. I mean, you could tell a woman that if she bought a certain bra, she would look just like Jane Mansfield, or Kim Kardashian, if that's too old for you. And men weren't any better. I'm guessing you remember. Just a little dab of Aduya, little grease in your hair, Brill cream, women would find you irresistible, right? They did. And my personal favorite, I was not immune to this at all. I bought into this idea that there was an apparatus that was shaped like this. And I believe if I took that thing and I stuck it right here for 10 minutes every day, I would have thighs that look like whom? Yeah, right? Didn't work. But those were the good old days, and you've got to wake up because our economy doesn't work like that anymore, and for far more reasons than truth in advertising and rules and regulations. Our economy doesn't work like that anymore because more than this economy has changed. Customers have changed. They are no longer interested in what you say about your product or service, how they get information, how they make decisions, what they value. It is all different. I want you to think about this. Since you got to this conference, since you went to lunch, since I stepped up here on this stage, your best customers, those ones that you believe are married to you, your top prospect, that one that you have worked on for years, they are continuing the buying cycle, and they are continuing it without you. Right now, they are online Googling, looking for information about what they want to buy. Tonight, they're going to go to a Rotary meeting or a chamber event, and they're going to ask other people about who they work with and what products they're using. They're going to go to a conference, they're going to read an industry magazine, and if your name is not coming up, if you are not the one that they are hearing about, then by the time you make the physical sales call, you're already behind in the sales process. The way to succeed in today's marketplace is to begin by building your reputation in the marketplace. You have to be the one that people have heard of and people have heard about. You've got to create buzz about yourself in the marketplace. I want you to think about this, and I want you to take a note. What is something that you have done in the last 6 months in your business that is noteworthy? Maybe you hired a new employee. Maybe you've added a new product. Maybe you won an award, or you attended an amazing conference like this. I don't care what it is, you need to make a note of it. Because I'm going to tell you in a minute what you need to do to create and promote yourself in the marketplace. Look, buying anything today has become like shopping at the cereal aisle of the grocery store. You've been to that aisle, right? It's the most overwhelming aisle in the grocery store. All you want is something for breakfast. It is not complicated. And you hit that aisle that stretches all the way from the cash register all the way back to the meat section. And in that aisle is just row after row after row after row after row of anything any human being could ever dream of to do with a cornflake. Right? And you are standing there and every single cornflake looks the same until you recognize that one cornflake that you remember your friend told you if you bought it, you would lose 20 pounds. And your doctor told you you would have the cholesterol of a vegan teenager. And you remember reading that you would live to be 120. You grab that box of cereal over every other box of cereal. In the world that you work in, you have to be that box of cereal. You have to pop off the shelf. You have to stand above everybody else and give me a reason to choose you over your competition. You've got to understand that in today's marketplace, the sales cycle starts without you. And you've got to put yourself out there in it. If you had won an award, you need to take a picture of that award, send a send-out card, thanking your customers, because you could never win awards if it wasn't for them. If you have hired employees, You need to take a picture of that team, put it on your send-out card, and post it everywhere. You have got to create buzz about yourself in the marketplace. You've got to understand that it isn't always the product that people are coming to you for. It's that they believe there's something special about you over your competitors. So you've got to learn to attract the business before you ask for the business. And as you build your reputation in the marketplace, if you're creating that buzz about yourself, you're not only going to have prospects coming to you and that door opening, but you're going to ensure that when your competitors knock on the door of your existing customers, they will not let them in. The marketplace is way too crowded today, and you've got to do what you can to lift yourself up above it. And when you have prospects and customers coming to you, you've got to actually do the antithesis of what you think you're supposed to do in sales. Instead of coming on strong, you've got to slow the sales process down. Strategy number 2 is that you have got to focus on connecting with your prospects, connecting with your customers. Look, one of my favorite things about sales today is we are living in a high-tech world. You know, I mean, we can do it all on Facebook, text, email, anything. But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is emotional business. People do business with you because they know you, they like you, and they trust you. You have heard it over and over again on this stage. And in a world where I can get in touch with anybody at a moment's notice, finding somebody to buy a product from is not an issue. Finding somebody I like, finding somebody I connect with, and finding somebody I trust, that's hard. So we have to focus as sales professionals on building that relationship first. But what we've got to understand is that we build relationship with way more than the words that come out of our mouth. In fact, we connect and communicate with people more by our body language, by the tone of our voice, by the way that we move. We make a decision about whether we like somebody and we trust them in a moment's notice. You made a decision about me when I stepped up here on this stage. Do not share it. Now, it is after lunch and I think we need to move a little bit, so how about we try this on for size? I'm going to assume that this room is a great big model of human behavior, and inside this room are all the different ways that people communicate. So if you think of yourself as outgoing, high energy, fast-paced, I want you to get to your feet. Yeah. Woo! All right, so these are my high energy, fast-paced people. These are people who are always on the word go. If I say, do you wanna? We could be going for colonoscopies at 3 o'clock today, but by God, they are all in, right? So when I first meet these people, I've got to pick my energy up. Because if I don't finish my sentence pretty quickly, you're just going to mow right over me or get totally bored, right? And how do you feel about silence? If I come up and have a conversation with you, and I'm moving like this.
I would think you were very meek.
She means she's not quite sure I'd be very bright. That's really what she means, right? Yeah, all right, guys, take a seat. So with this group of people, here's the thing. As soon as I meet somebody, I am looking to see what their pace is. How is their energy moving? And if I pick my energy up to match your energy, you start to like me and you don't even know why. But if I'm moving too slowly, you're awfully polite saying I'm meek, but you're thinking, I don't like her. I would like to move on to somebody else, right? Now, my other friends here in this room are my reserved friends, those people who needed to think twice before they got to their feet. If I could just have a show of hands of anybody in here who's reserved. I got a couple back there. All right, great. Look, you're afraid. She's thinking, oh God, she's going to bring me up here on stage, right? But if I come at you with all this energy and all this excitement and telling you all the things that I'm excited, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling fabulous.
Yes, yes. I'm not freaking you out?
No.
Then I think you might be outgoing, right? Because when we interact with people who are reserved, all that energy coming at them, it is way too much. What you've got to realize when you are in sales and you are calling on people, you've got a second to make an impression. Buying a product, I've got 20 people to buy a product from. But when energy matches energy, we feel comfortable. We trust those people. We feel easy about it. Here's the great thing. You're 100% in control of how you move. When I first meet you and I see that you smile, I meet that smile, it makes you feel comfortable. If I smile too much at you, you might think I'm a little bit crazy, right? We've got to focus on really building that relationship and really building that connection. The first thing that you want to look at when you deal with people is pace. How do they move? Do I need to put my energy up? Do I need to put my energy in check? Now, the second thing that I like to look at is priority. What is most important to people? Are they more task-focused, wanting to stay in the business at hand? Or are they the type of people who want to build relationship? So if I were going to give you 15 minutes right now, would you walk out of this room and go have a conversation with somebody? Hands up. People-oriented people? Oh yeah, people-oriented people. Or would you be the type of person who would go out of here and start to get things done on your to-do list? Because you think a to-do, yes, you're all about the to-do list. You don't want to fool with any of that. Here's the thing. If you start talking to somebody who is task-focused and you start asking all those rapport-building questions, tell me about your weekend. Tell me about your kids. I'm lost, right? You're done. Absolutely. You've got to learn to communicate and connect with people based on the way that they communicate and connect. That's how people feel comfortable. That's how they feel trust. The fantastic thing is you're 100% in control of how you communicate. You're 100% in control of how you move and what you focus on. You've got to be focused on the people in front of you and taking the clues from them. You don't even have to get it right, because once my energy shifts to you, you feel that energy focused on you, you begin to feel trust. You feel like your goals are more important than my goals. In today's marketplace, you cannot rush the sales process. You are not in control of it. You do not get to decide when somebody buys. That relationship has got to become before the product. And you've got to understand that relationship happens so much more than just the words that you speak. We've got to learn to communicate and connect in the way that our customers and prospects communicate and connect. That will make them feel listened to, that will make them feel heard, and that will make them feel valued. So we are cooking with gas. We have 2 of the 3. We know that we have got to begin by building our reputation in the marketplace. We have got to get above the white noise and stand out from our competition. We know that we have actually got to slow the sales process down. And we've got to really work on building that relationship and that trust first before we ask for the product. Building that emotional connection first ensures that that relationship goes from a one-time transaction to a long-term relationship. What could possibly be left? Who in here has ever, I don't ask it that way, who in here has ever bought something and you think what you paid for it was perfectly reasonable? But if your spouse or your significant other knew what you paid for it, they might think you were crazy. Yeah? My husband's worst nightmare is that I will sell his boat for what he told me he paid for it. But that's all right because he thinks I get my hair cut for $15. Foundation of a happy marriage. But what is that? What is it that makes me pay what others might think are ridiculous to get my hair cut that I think is perfectly reasonable? It's value. It's how I feel about it. Absolutely. And if you want to succeed in today's marketplace, you better learn how to proactively add value. The existing customers that you have are the greatest gift you have in growing your business. But the top 2 reasons your existing customers don't buy more from you, it's not because they don't want to, it's not because they don't need to, it's not because they think they can get a better price somewhere else. The top 2 reasons they don't buy more from you is because they don't know what else you have to offer and because you never asked. I think that is amazing. It is only because we are not going back out and selling to our existing customers. In today's marketplace, your business grows from the inside out. You need to be taking radical care of your existing customers because they're going to turn around and tell everybody else to do business with you. The worst thing that can happen to you in this economy, the worst, it's not that you don't get the sale. It's that your existing customer finds out about a product or service that you sell, that they need from somebody else other than you. Because if that happens, you break trust. And once trust is broken, it is so hard to win it back. See, we ask our customers questions to find out about the challenges they've got, the things going on in their lives. They don't speak to us in terms of products or services. What they do is they tell us about the challenges they've got, the plans they've got for the business, something that happened in their business last week. And when they do that, our head needs to be going crazy with the products or services that we could offer them that could help them achieve their goals. But in order to do that, you have got to follow up. The sale in today's marketplace happens in the follow-up. What do you think the chances are that you are going to interact with a customer at the exact time, the exact moment they need a product or service? Slim to none, right? None of your customers got out this morning, looked in the mirror, got down on one knee, and said, "Please, God, if nothing else happens to me today, please allow a sales professional to knock on my door and ask me for business." Right? Didn't happen. We have to be top of mind with our sales, with our customers at the time when they need a product or service. But what are the reasons that we don't follow up? Well, I have a theory about that. There's no scientific proof in my theory at all, but I'm right. The top 2 reasons that we don't follow up with our customers is, number 1, we are worried that we will be annoying, right? The second reason is because we are afraid that if we follow up, if they don't respond to us in 1 or 2 times, that they must not be interested. Well, neither of those is true. Number 1, your customers, your prospects get busy. They have other things going on in their lives. So no matter how solid or fabulous the conversation was, as soon as they got back into their office, their best employee quit. Their roof started to leak. Their kid got a D on their report card, and their mother fell and broke their hip. Other things are happening in their lives that are keeping them from making you a priority. But if you don't stay visible, if you don't stay top of mind, when they're ready to buy, they're not going to choose you. Now, the second reason that we don't follow up is we worry that we are going to be annoying. Well, guess what? If you call me every couple of weeks and you ask me if I'm ready to buy, you're annoying. You're so annoying that even if I want to buy the product or service, I'm not going to buy it from you now because I don't like you, right? So you have to understand that following up is not about you getting the sale. Following up is about continuing to build and enhance the relationship. It is about continuing to build trust, to build connection, to increase communication so that they value you more in the relationship. You've got to follow up with people in a way that adds value, that makes them feel important. Whoops, that one. So, if you are looking for 16 ways to follow up without being annoying, all you've got to do is text that number, text the word value to that number, and you're going to get 16 ways to stay in touch and remain visible with your customers. I believe the sale happens in the follow-up in today's marketplace. You have got to follow up, follow up, follow up. But you've got to do it in a way that is more about your customer than it is about you. The strategy that I use is I like to make it 70% about adding value to their life and 30% asking for the business. So you've got to make those touches that remain visible and not make it about you closing the business. Now, every time I look at an audience like this, but especially when I have entrepreneurs, I think to myself, time is money. You heard Mark say that this morning. And I want to make sure that you all get return on investment from the time that you spent here today. So if you went back to your office on Monday and you wrote down your top 10 customers, top 10. Now let me define a top 10 customer. A top 10 customer is somebody who brings a smile to your face, right? Somebody that you get excited about working with. And you know what I mean because you all have those customers that you think to yourself, I'd rather go to the dentist this afternoon than have to see that customer again, right? A top 10 customer is somebody who buys your products and services readily, refers you business, and pays you. Now, if you write down those top 10 customers and you simply pick up the phone and give them a call and check in, how's it going? What's new in your business? Tell me what your plans are for the last quarter of the year. 3 things will happen. Number 1, you will have just cemented that relationship. They won't be able to believe that you called them for no reason at all other than to check in. Number 2, you will probably find business. Just in having that conversation, if you keep your ears open, you will probably find opportunity. And number 3, you'll probably get a referral, all from just checking in with your existing customers. If you don't take anything else from me today, what I want you to know and what I want you to understand is your business is going to grow from the inside out. Every prospect that you are calling on right now is going to verify you with one of your existing customers. So the fastest way to grow your business is also the easiest way to grow your business. You just need to focus your time and your energy on really taking care of your existing customers. The more you do that, the more products and services they have, the more they feel that you're taking an interest in the growth of their organization, the more they'll go out and tell other people they ought to be doing business with you. There is no better PR in today's marketplace than your existing customers talking about you. But remember, you've got to create relationships on steroids. You've got to add value at a level. And the way that we add value is to check in with our existing customers, ask them open-ended questions, and listen. Listen what's going on in their business, listen what's going on in their life, and then match the products and services that we have that will make a difference for them. Those are the steps, those are the strategies, those are the 3 things that you need to be doing in today's marketplace to differentiate yourself, to get above the white noise and stand out. And incidentally, you need to be doing them in this order. Number 1, you have got to build your reputation. You have got to create buzz about yourself in the marketplace. The second is you have got to focus on really connecting and go back to the basics of the soft skills and put the relationship before the sale. And then for those existing customers, you have got to proactively add value. Value at a level that means you are 1 step ahead of them in the products or services that you have got to offer. Now, again, I want you to get return on investment. So I'm going to have you walk out of here with 3 actions. 3 things that I would do if I were going home with you. I'm not going home with you. You don't have to explain me to your family, okay? All right. Number 1, I want you to take the pictures that you have taken at this conference, and I want you to make a send-out card, and I want you to send it to your top customers, giving them the 3 biggest takeaways you got from this conference. Think about that, all right? You added value to the customer relationship. I learned these 3 things at the Relationship Marketing Summit. I think your business could benefit from it too. What this does for your existing customers is it lets them know that you're out there doing things. You're active, you're engaged and involved, and it gives them a reason to talk about you. My theory is that we never really get past high school. It is our level of emotional maturity. And we want to be doing business with the people that are the most popular. So that's where you have to start. The second is, I want you to, on your very next sales call, put the product at the back of your mind. And I want you to focus on the relationship first. I want your pace to match their pace, your priority to match their priority. And last but not least, I want you to take those top customers and I want you just to give them a call. And if you do, I promise you, you are going to close business almost immediately. Look, I know you come to events like this and we get excited and we get motivated. And then we go back to the office and life sets in. And we can make a list of all the reasons that you can implement everything you've learned here today. And we can make a list of reasons that you can't. But I have been doing this long enough to know that the reasons that you can't succeed will always be longer than the reasons that you can. But the difference between people who succeed in life and people who don't, the only difference, is that people who succeed only focus on the reasons that they can, and they forget about this other list. I think that is incredible. It is not that they are smarter. It is not that they are more talented. It is not that they get more lucky breaks. It is where they focus their time and their energy. The impossible is accomplished every single day. No matter what you want to do with your business or you want to achieve, you can do it based on where you focus your time and your energy. I was doing some volunteer work for United Way. Has anybody ever worked for United Way? I was doing the Day of Caring. Have you done that? And the day that they asked me to come in, and do some work with a daycare center. Now, this daycare center was unique in that it catered to physically challenged children as well as physically capable children. And the day that I went in there, these kids were playing tag, like kids will do, running, screaming at the top of their lungs from one end of this room all the way to the other. But the unique thing about it was that these physically challenged children were running and screaming just as hard as the physically capable. Whether that meant in their wheelchairs, whether it meant on crutches, whether it meant crawling from one end of that room to the other. And I looked at the executive director kind of in awe. And I said, how did you do that? How did you convince these physically challenged children they were just as capable as every kid in here? She said, oh, that was easy. She said, we just never told them they couldn't. She said, life is going to, it's great. She said, life is going to show up soon enough, and it's going to remind them daily of all the reasons that they can't, of all the limitations that they have. And she said, we wanted this daycare facility to be a place that they come back to, that they remember, a touchstone where anything is possible. And see, I think that's what this conference is. I think that you're going to leave here and you're going to watch the news. I don't know why you're going to do that, but you'll watch the news. You're going to listen to that friend that you've got is a major negative Nelly. And you're going to have one of those days where everything goes wrong. And it's in that moment that you need to come back into this room. You need to come back into this conference. And you need to remember everything that all of the speakers have told you today. And you need to remember that absolutely anything is possible. I'm Meridith Elliott Powell. I believe, thank you. I believe that if you build your network, you will change your life. If we are not connected, I would love to be connected. Thank you.
So amazing.